So what we're going to start with is, let's see here. We have put together a page to use as a guide for today's meeting. And we also want you to bookmark this, especially in your first year of the RVA partnership. So I'm going to throw that link in the chat, and I'm going to share my screen. So I think we'll just introduce ourselves as we present. I feel like that will be easier on all of you, as opposed to trying to remember everyone's name and roles in the big sea of pink and orange on your screen. So everyone with this background works from the Rural Virtual Academy, and we're all here to talk about our respective areas of the school. So my name is Allie Ranum. I am the director of District Connect. And we'll talk a little bit more about what that means. But essentially, RVA has two different ways that we serve our partner districts that are pretty distinct from each other. One is our full-time virtual school, and that's where our students attend the RVA from home, and it is a parent choice option. The parents enroll their students into that school. And then on the other side where I work, we provide services and curriculum options, professional development events for all of your in-building students and staff. But what I want to start with today is a quick overview of the RVA partnership. Many of you are aware of what I'm going to talk about, but I still want to make sure that I share it with you. Just a nice starting point for us, and might be some new information for you as well. So this is actually a slide deck that we use for partners who may be interested in joining the RVA. So it, like I said, might look familiar. But the top 5 reasons that districts tend to partner with us. So the first one is the experience that we have in the RVA. So we've been doing this virtual learning thing since 2005. And over the years, we've just continued to grow and develop all of these unique areas of our school, to the point where today we serve 70 partner districts. We've served over 2,300 students in our full-time virtual school and 3,500 students through District Connect. Our consortium continues to grow, as I mentioned. You should see all of your districts listed down here in the affiliate partners. And we have quite a large group of invested partners. RVA is turnkey. So this, I'm not going to spend too much time on this information today because this is literally what we're going to dive into. So talk about that full-time virtual school, how it works. Our school continues to grow and grow and grow, lots of interest every year. And one thing that districts always find interesting and are curious about, how many students should I expect to enroll in the RVA? This is a chart of all of our partner districts and how many students they have in the virtual school. And it fluctuates between 1.5% and 2% every year as an average for about how many students of your school population might enroll in the Rural Virtual Academy. Not a guarantee, but it's a pretty good estimate. On the District Connect side of things, again, we offer a lot of different services, and we'll get into that. You as a district have local control. That's why we partner with you. Again, I'm not going to dive into this. I'm going to steal everyone's thunder if I go too into it. Lots of fiscal benefits with you. You are all affiliate partners, so that is a single year agreement. And after you complete this first year as an affiliate, you do have the option to appeal to the board to become an invested partner. And that tends to work out certainly in your favor. History has shown that the full-time student tuition is quite a bit lower when you are an invested partner. So certainly lots of benefits to stick around for the long haul with an RVA partnership. So that, I think that kind of covers our general overview. And what I'd like to do now is hop into the District Connect side of the RVA. So we're going to talk about the curriculum available to you for your in-building students. We're going to talk about some of our student services you can take advantage of and professional development. So for this next section, I am going to hand things over to Lee Cisneros, our District Connect coordinator. And Lee, would you like me to continue screen sharing, or would you like to share as you click through?
Actually, I'll take over sharing if that's okay.
Perfect. Yeah, please do.
Okay. So nice to meet you all. As Ali said, I'm Lee Cisneros and I work on the District Connect side. Is everybody looking at my screen where there's pictures flashing constantly? Okay. Yeah, so the District Connect side is separate than the full-time side in that it's all the services we can offer you as a partner district, even though your students may not be in the full-time school. So this is available to your in-building teachers and students. I'm going to start a little backwards from what Ali was starting with, and I'm going to go with what we have available for educators. My screen isn't clicking. Am I froze?
No, we're enjoying watching you try to click.
Maybe you're going to have to share. It's not letting me click. Oh.
There it is.
Okay. So here's on our webpage, we have an educator page. And what we do is we offer different PD opportunities to teachers in your district. And if you want to look more, you can always come to this page. A couple of the big ones we offer are in August. We offer a Growing Connections event where we go. This year it's going to be in Stevens Point, and we're going to talk about restorative practices. But every year it's just what are those hot topics in education and how can we help share that knowledge with our districts. So we do like a full day event, and all of your teachers are welcome to come if they would want to. It's free for the district. It's a pretty big one and it's a lot of fun. The other one is we offer power-ups, and power-ups just mean anytime anyone in your district wants to use our curriculum, you have access to me as the teacher educator, and I train you on any program that you would be using. Along with that, I'm going to click on this Browse PD Offerings. We also come to your buildings or join you virtually. Usually we'd come in person, and we can offer these other PD opportunities for your district. So for example, I'm going to a district on Friday, and I'm going to present AI for educators for an hour during their in-service day. I've done lots of research and background work in AI as it's becoming more popular in schools, and I give your teachers some tools that they can use to make AI a benefit instead of a threat. And so we have tons of other ones available, creating custom courses in Buzz, innovative instructional design, Google Tips, and you can see there's a list of them. And all of these come into your district, and you can choose which one you want and which day you're looking to have someone come in, and we kind of can help bolster your in-service days. Right at the bottom of this page with all of the PD options available is a quick inquiry form. All you have to do is come to this page, fill it out with some basic information of what you're looking for and at what day, and then I get back in contact with you to help you get that implemented. Any questions about that part of it? So that's what we can do for teachers in your district. The other thing is we offer student events for any students in your district that you would want to bring programming into their district for. For this one right here, you'll see we have 4 main events that we host in person at a site that we chose each year. There's a leadership summit for middle and high school students. So we have a whole day for middle school students. Districts generally would send like their NHS or their student council or a select group of kids. They come and we run them through a leadership simulation and a full day of events with lunch to kind of get those kids that special activity outside of the classroom. We also offer one that's totally STEM-based, totally environmentally based, and then one that's kind of advocacy-based. So this year in particular, we went to the Wisconsin State Capitol, and we got a room from our legislator, and we spent the whole day there getting a tour of the building and then talking about how to make a bill. These are all things that are completely free for your district. You can sign up to send a bunch of kids, and we kind of host this field trip for you. And it's really a lot of fun because we are a network of 70 districts now, and the students really seem to enjoy interacting with all the other districts. They get to know each other, see people from other part of the state, and it's a lot of fun. And the whole idea was to take the work off the teacher and the administrators in setting up these field trips and arrange them on our side so that you just have to show up and enjoy. The other student services we have, let me also add. So we have these 4 main events and several other events, but next year we're also going to be offering these events in your district. If you would like us to come to your district and host one of these events, we can come and do that. So our Youth Leadership Summit last year was in Mosinee, Wisconsin, but that's just a little too far for some districts to ship kids, or the one in Madison would be really far for like a New Richmond. Nope, this is so because this is the District Connect side, this is for all your in-building kids. So we offer a lot of these events for our full-time virtual students as well, but this is kind of like the added bonus of the partnership where we can offer this to your brick and mortar students. Thanks for doing that, Allie. Yeah, so you could either come to our events, but like if Madison is too far to do an advocacy program with your students, then we could take this program that we've built and bring it into your district and run it in your facilities somewhere, like maybe set aside the cafeteria or the auditorium and send us your 4th graders. And we would facilitate the day while you have advisors there to just help us out. I hope that clarified, Casey. So it's a really fun thing that you just get in addition to being a full-time partner with the RVA. The other services we have what we call a language league. So we found out that a lot of our districts, if they have a small EL population, they might not be able to hire an entire EL teacher for just their one EL student. So we've hired an RVA full-time EL teacher, and she offers 30-minute live classes every day of the week to those EL students in your district. So you would register your student just for that course. They would come to Zoom and hang out with other EL students across the state learning the language. We've seen a lot of popularity in this, especially in districts that don't have a large EL population in their district. So it's, again, nothing that you have to participate in, but if you're listening right now and thinking, wow, we do have a need for that, then you could come here, and when you click on it, it's going to take you to a page with more information. And you can contact us right up here for any other additional information so that we can kind of get together and talk about what kind of situation you're looking for. The last thing I'm going to say for students in your district that you could use is we have a program called Kaleidoscope Kids. And this is an enrichment program that we've decided to offer to all your in-district students. And what it is it's an enrichment piece that's got a whole bunch of different units. So when I say course titles, you get a bunch of different units that if you were going to use it like every day for 20 minutes during like a homeroom activity, it would take you about a month to get through each one. And each unit is like a project-based learning type unit where they run through a bunch of different lessons that are fun and they choose their own topic. And at the end, they have something to share with us. We have one called Genius Hours, Story Hours. This is a podcasting one. We've got a STEM one, Environmental Advocates, Kids in Action, Modern Poetry. And what you can do is there's pricing up here. So to cover the cost of us creating this, you can either pay $100 for the whole year per student, and they would get access to each one of these different things. So if you're thinking of like advanced students or students that are just not in the traditional classroom for a particular part of the day, you could use it in that way, or you could have a teacher buy the curriculum. So it'd be $350 per teacher per year. And so if you had someone teaching, a study hall, or not a study hall, but like an enrichment period, they could have this and they could run through each of these units on their own with the digital curriculum. It's in a Buzz LMS, similar to a Google Classroom, but all the material and content are there. The teacher just kind of plugs and plays. They open it up, they run through the unit with their students, and they've got complete control over that without having to create something on their own. So again, there's a contact us page right there, where if you were interested in something like that, even if it's just something like, hey, she gave a quick overview today, I just want to learn more about it, you can click that button and we'll be happy to give you all the details and give you some demo access and let you look through stuff like that. We're still good? Yeah, all right. Then the other thing I'm going to show you that District Connect offers, again, this would be for your in-building classroom, is we have curriculum available. And this is where District Connect pretty much started, because we purchase all this curriculum and have access to all these great online resources because we're a full-time virtual school, but we can make those available to your district for in-school use. You can use our online curriculum in any way you want. There's just a couple different ways to get it, and I'll let Rachel talk about that in a little bit. We have what's called digital access. So we'll take our curriculum, which is a complete online course. It's got all of the lessons, the videos, the supplements, all of the assessments, the quizzes, the rubrics for the assignments. Everything's in this online course. And with digital access, you can use it in your classroom. So sometimes we see this where a district has a Spanish teacher that's teaching grades 6 through 12, like 7 different levels of Spanish, and they can't possibly prep for all of those courses individually every single day. So they use our online curriculum in their classroom, and that way the lessons are there, the resources are there, and everything's there. She just has to facilitate it in the classroom and then add their own flair, right? So sometimes you'll use the online curriculum and be like, oh, but now we're going to do this unit on it, and I'm going to add my own things, and that's completely fine. We also see this like with math classes. If one teacher is teaching a lot of math classes, or maybe an AP course that they're not as familiar with, they're strong in as their the courses they had teach in previous years, they can use these digital resources to kind of lean on in their classrooms. So along those lines, with the same curriculum, what we see a lot is independent use of these courses. So when I say independent use, I mean you're going to use it with just one student or 5 students, but not with an entire class. And you can do that in a couple different ways. There's the local teacher versus the need teacher. A local teacher is when you have a teacher in your classroom that would use this curriculum with one student or a handful of students. And picture this like you have, say, Spanish again. You can offer Spanish 1 through 3 live with the teacher in the classroom, but maybe you only have 2 teachers that need Spanish 4 or 2 teachers that need AP Spanish. You could put them into this independent curriculum, and the teacher could still grade the work for them, but they wouldn't have a whole section of that class live in a building taking up that whole period. Or if you have one student that's interested in a psychology course, but you don't offer it, you would get the full curriculum. You could have a teacher licensed in your building to oversee it. I get to train them on all the fantastic ways they can use that curriculum, and they can use that. So you can kind of expand your course offerings to your students without having to change your entire master schedule to have all these individual sections available. That same curriculum that's used for these first 2 options can also be used as a need teacher independent study. And when we say need teacher, that would be like if you want to teach an aeronautics class, and you don't have a teacher for that, or an ASL class is a popular one. You could request that course and request to have one of our teachers teach it. And we have access to a ton of teachers here at the RVA, but there's also like a statewide network of teachers that we can pull from if you don't have the right licensure, that you don't have the right teacher capacity, so that you can still offer those classes to those students. And then our teacher would oversee the grading and the pacing and give them feedback and support in that way, which is we see this quite a bit. It's a lot of fun. Like German is one of our more popular ones because not everyone has a German teacher, but you have some students that want to take German. So they get our course with our teacher and they do that. With these, the same idea, need teacher, right? So you don't have the teacher in your building, but they want to take this course. If it's a course that you think they would be better off in with a live teacher, what you can do is do the need teacher live course. And that means that your student would get the course, they would get the teacher, but instead of doing it completely independently where they log in and do the work every day, they would have the added benefit of being able to go to a live course via Zoom with the teacher every single day for 30 minutes. Logistically, this one's a little bit more complicated sometimes with schools because you've got to free up that time for that student for their 30-minute live classes in Zoom every day. But when we're talking about some of those like higher level math or science classes where it would just be really beneficial to have that live instruction go with the independent course content, it's a really good option to again, be able to open up the class offerings for your students. So I can turn it over to Rachel and either she can share or I can continue sharing, but we can show you really quick how you would go about obtaining these services for your students, unless there was any more questions particularly about what's available. Then Rachel, do you want to share or should?
Yes, I can go ahead and share.
Okay.
All right, is everyone able to see my screen? All right, so I am Rachel Wellman, and I primarily process the District Connect enrollment. So getting these services set up for your in-building students. Lee talked about all the different options we have. And on this same website, rvaconnect.org, you can see all of our different course catalogs, depending on what type of service you're looking for. We'll just pop into the independent study catalog. Here you can browse and see all the different titles that are available to you. There's a couple different filters here on the top. I'd say some of the most popular ones are for Odysseyware schools. You could select just the Odysseyware courses. Or if, as Lee said, if you don't have a teacher but you need one, you can narrow it down to the titles where we have instruction available. And clicking in the course catalog, you can get a course description. You can click on a link and get a course syllabus file, so you can learn about what is in the course. And if you have any questions beyond that information, we'll gladly get you set up with a demo account so you can actually, get in, see the course, try the system. As Lee said, she will help train you or your teachers to use any of this. But if you do see a course that you want to sign up for, we're going to head to another page on the website called the Partner Portal. And you'll see there is a link for every district that partners with the RVA. And I also want to point out that down on the bottom, there are some resources that will show you more detail of how to request a course on these spreadsheets. We'll click on New Richmond here. I know we have a crowd from there today. And then you would select the service that you want to sign up for. So let's say you wanted to take an Odysseyware course, and that will take you to a spreadsheet where you'll enter the student information and the course they want to take. And that comes to me, and then I will get the student set up or the teacher set up and get everybody their login credentials so they can get started. And that process usually only takes a day. Sometimes at the start of the school year, there's a bit of a bottleneck and it takes a little longer, but that's really all there is to requesting to use one of our services. And as Allie said, we're here to support you. If you have any questions or if you need any training, that is something we can take care of as well. Does anybody have any questions now about signing up for a service with District Connect? Right. Am I passing it back to you, Allie, then?
Kind of, yeah. I think we're going to pass it back to me for a couple of seconds. We're trying to keep you all awake this morning by hopping you back and forth between people. Are we doing well so far? There's so much information that we're covering. I know I said that that was going to be the case at the top of the meeting. I really meant it. Poor Lee, I feel like there's probably smoke coming out of her mouth trying to cover everything that we offer to our partner districts in that short amount of time. So I think she might have sent an email out a few weeks back to all of our new partners, just inviting you to take advantage of a meeting with our District Connect team to go over all of that in great detail. There's a lot that we offer, and every district has really unique needs with for our services. So we would love to meet with you and really dive into everything available and how you might best use it in your district. With that being said, I think it's time for us to talk about the full-time virtual school. So who do we have up first? let's talk about the enrollment process. So I'm going to continue to share screen, but I'm going to let the much more knowledgeable people in this room talk us through that.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Angie. I'm one of the enrollment secretaries here at the Rural Virtual Academy, along with Sydney Strasser and Jen Harris. They're also here today. And we're going to kick it off here with going through the full-time virtual enrollment process. And then if you have any questions, we'll welcome them after we go through the roadmap that we have here. So I'll start out with the first step of the enrollment process and where we're at this time of the year. Currently, the spring open enrollment just closed at the end of April. So right now, the first step was for families to complete the spring open enrollment. And then any families from the consortium or the partnership school districts, they would have added their names to a list for enrollment interest. And so right now we are working on collecting the preliminary records request from the resident school districts and the previously attending schools. And then if there are, which includes if there are any special education records, expulsion records, anything from there. And then if there are any of those, that information, the special education records are going to our RVA SPED team to review and to make sure we're able to meet all the needs of the students that are wanting to enroll here at the RVA. And then the enrollments for the spring open enrollments are going to the Metford School Board. And then the partnership enrollments go to our RVA administration for review. And then we will be reaching out to the families, and that will be this summer to confirm the approval or denials of the enrollments. And then once the enrollments are approved, they will be going to the RVA, the curriculum coordinators for grades pre-K through 8. And then for high school grades, those will be going to the school counselors so they are able to work with the families to build a schedule and arrange orientations from there. Does anyone have any questions at this point, up to this point, in regards to the process or anything more to add to this?
Yep. I have a question. So there is a difference between family open enrollment and then our consortium, correct?
Yes.
And then when is the cutoff date to get the consortium? Like if we want to have students attend, what is the date for those names going to Rural Virtual Academy?
I should reiterate too, as Sarah and Charlie had indicated, so that spring open enrollment is going on, and those are the enrollments we're working on up to this point. But if you have families that are interested in enrolling with the RVA, please have them add their names to the enrollment interest list. And the RVA is working our way through those lists and reaching out to the families as we would have capacity to enroll them. So that will be going on this summer for enrollments that way.
What would be the reason that a student would be denied enrollment?
If the RVA is not able to meet the needs of the student that we're wanting to enroll. So say if there's special education services that we're not able to meet, or if there's some, safety concerns, if the student's been expelled and there's safety concerns for other students at the RVA, or, depending where we're at with, if they're credit deficient, and if we have a program that works with students that are credit deficient, and if that's at full capacity, if we're not able to take on the students that way. Any other questions, or does anybody have anything else to add to this? Okay.
All right, perfect.
Thank you.
We have a question.
Oh, one more question.
If we have a student who lives in another district and wants to apply for RVA, they have to apply to you, not to us, correct?
Yes. if they would have to apply from the resident school district of where they live. And then they would not be able to participate in activities through your school district. They would be severing all ties with your school district if they reside in a different school district.
Any other questions before we move on? All right. Let's talk student management systems. And again, I just get to MC here and pass it along to the people who really know what they're talking about. So who's going to talk about student information systems today from our awesome RVA team?
I get this topic. So welcome everyone. I'm going to briefly go through kind of how the data tracking works and the reporting and those sorts of things for our shared students. But also, I'm going to throw a link in the chat here. We have our orientations coming up that are specifically directed towards like your registrars, your business office, the people who take care of the technology in your district that help manage the student data, that sort of thing. So we really encourage you to attend one of those orientation sessions as well, where we really dive into this in much greater detail, so that we can help you get everything all up and running prior to the start of the school year. But to start out with, we actually have two different partnership types with the RVA. We have the affiliated partnership. That's that 1-year partnership. That is how all of our new districts start with us. So things look a little bit different for our affiliated partners versus our invested partners who have that longer commitment with us. Okay. So for affiliated partnerships, in this case, we hold the WISE ID. So because we hold the WISE ID, we have to take care of all the state reporting for your students. You include them in pupil count, but we actually do all that WISE data reporting on those students. And then we house the cumulative files for all of our RVA students because we're regularly adding information into those files. So when it comes to your system, you cannot report on your students, on our full-time RVA students through your WISE system. Otherwise, we get overlapping errors. So it's a big distinction when it comes to that WISE ID. On the flip side, as the resident district, you include these students in your pupil counts. And we'll go over with you in those or registrar business office meetings how you're going to be doing that pupil count reporting, but you include them in your pupil counts. You get the funding for those students, and then we invoice you for our services. Okay. You also house all of your special education files. So while the cumulative file comes to us, the special education file stays with you. You don't send them both over. Now, in the future, if you should become an invested partner with that multi-year agreement, we still house the cum files, but the WISE IDs transfer back to your district. So then you would report on those students just like you do your in-building students. So you'd hold the WISE ID, you'd take care of all the state reporting, you would still include them in your pupil count, and you would still hold those special education files. So when it comes to the roles between the RVA and the resident district, we mail the grade reports and the transcripts to the families. We provide the diplomas and the covers, and we send those diplomas out to you prior to graduation, so you have the opportunity to get the necessary signatures on them for those diplomas. We provide registration information to you as well as the list of students prior to third Friday and second Friday. So you have the ability to get everything into your system that you need to for those big reporting dates. We also provide you schedules and course and teacher information and grade and transcript information. Now, some of that information, you need to do something with it immediately. Other information is just for your reference. Now, on the flip side, as the resident district, you need to maintain records for transcript purposes. While we direct all of the RVA graduates or all RVA students to request transcripts from us, technically, you should have that same information in your system as well in some fashion, that our transcripts would mirror each other. And the reason we really need that to happen is because our shared students are meeting your graduation requirements. So when our school counselors and student services team works together between your district and our district or our school to make sure that those students are on track for graduation, it's important that both of you are on the same page for those conversations. So we do need you to maintain transcript records on your side as well. And we also ask that you attend enrollment and student management meetings that we have throughout the years, so that if there's any changes or questions or those sorts of things, that we can address them and make sure everyone is on the same page. So, like I had mentioned, we have those training sessions coming up. So we strongly encourage you to attend those. And then we really dive deeper into this and can answer any questions that are specific to you and those sorts of things as well. But does anyone have any questions for today as to what we covered on this slide?
We did have a question from Nicole that I just wanted to answer too. So if a student's open enrolled into your district currently, they can't then open enroll or enroll from your district into the RVA because the students can only enroll from their the school district in which they reside. Sometimes though, we've had situations where the student needs online or instruction from home, different things are going on. And so then those districts would provide online curriculum through our District Connect side. So they're still considered an in-building student in your district, but they're getting their content curriculum offerings through District Connect so that they can remain in your district that way. So we've had that happen every now and then. So yeah, if you have any other questions on that though, please feel free to reach out to us.
Any other questions about enrollments or the student management systems? All right, I would definitely recommend, if you do want to learn more about that, or you know someone in your district who should learn more about that, to sign up for that business office orientation that Jen put the link in the chat for. All right, so next on our agenda today is an update from our full-time virtual school principals. So they're going to talk to you, dive in a little bit more detail on how the full-time virtual school operates and what a great option it is for your students.
Hi everyone, I am Jenna Versh and I am the elementary and middle school principal. So I'll be kicking off the presentation today. And then alongside with me, we have Kathy Alexander, and I'll let her introduce herself.
Hi everyone, I am Kathy Alexander. I am the high school principal for the full-time virtual school and also director of pupil services.
Excellent. So again, we'll cover some more details about the full-time side of our school. Just to review that enrollment process again, after they complete those enrollment steps, our student service coordinators and counselors build a schedule with each family who chooses to enroll in the full-time side. We have a variety of curriculum options at the elementary, middle school, and high school levels. So we do have a lot of information out on our website if you do have questions about those curriculum options, but we'll highlight a few of them here today as well. after a student enrolls with us and we choose their curriculum options and build their schedule, we do have each family attend an orientation with their RVA teachers to go over beginning the school year information and make sure that they don't have any questions before getting started. And then we usually also involve our consortium school counselors to review the graduation requirements, any in-building classes. So we do have a lot of frequent contact with your in-building counselors as well. All right, as we look at our elementary school level, which is pre-K through 5th grades, we do offer a variety of individualized instruction with customized curriculum pathway options. So again, depending on those curriculum options or curriculum pathways that the family is interested in, we individualize that instruction approach. So some choose to log in to daily live Zoom classes, and some will schedule individualized meetings with their teacher to go through their book-based curriculum options. So again, that is customized based on the student needs and the family and what they would like. Our RVA teachers meet very frequently with the students, their families, and the home mentors as we create that partnership with each family. With our elementary school students, the same teacher typically follows that student throughout elementary school, so they do have several years to build that relationship with them and establish that communication. We do have a full handbook outlining our different policies and procedures for our elementary and middle school. And again, that is posted out on our website. Okay. Our middle school is 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. So again, very similar to elementary school. We do offer a variety of individualized instruction options with those curriculum pathways. Each student has an RVA homeroom teacher as well as their home mentor. And students at the middle school, they could potentially have multiple teachers if they're taking different live classes, and that may include also live class elective options. So in our middle school, we expand some of our live class options to include, elective offerings like art or Spanish or technology. So those would mean that they would have multiple teachers. Okay. As students get into middle school, there's lots of similar aspects that we start to prepare them for our high school. So a lot of them do transition to those live daily Zoom classes for their instructional approach. We have progress checks that we communicate to you, as well as different ways to check their progress within our Buzz platform. All right. Any questions about elementary or middle school at this time? Otherwise, I will turn things over to Kathy to explain a little bit more about our high school. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Thank you, Jenna. Yeah, I know we're throwing a lot of information at you. And again, like I said earlier, it is May and everybody has a lot of other things on their mind too. So as we go through this presentation, make sure you ask us questions in the chat. But if you have questions that come up afterwards, always feel free to reach out to us. And we're always here and happy to help answer those questions. At the high school, I like to refer us to just like another school within your district now. Even though we're virtual, consider us, like if we have a New Richmond West, we have a New Richmond East now high school. So RVA is another school in your district. At the high school level, the majority of our students are doing online direct instruction classes. So our day runs from about 8 o'clock in the morning to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Each class runs for about 30 minutes, Monday through Friday. All our teachers are Wisconsin licensed and teaching their correct content areas. We have an activity period every day. We also have an on-course program that was mentioned before for students who may be at risk of not graduating. And our school year runs on a 2-semester school year, 8-period day, not block schedule. And then we also offer an optional summer school term as well for students that may want to get ahead on credits. And then we also offer credit recovery summer school for, again, any students that may need to catch up on credits. We'll be sharing out this slide deck as well, and the handbooks are linked in here too, so feel free to look through our handbooks to get more information on those policies and procedures. In the high school, those live instruction classes, they run those 30 minutes. Students have access though to the content 24/7 to work on their assignments, take exams, do different things. Sometimes students are in the virtual school because they need the flexibility, their family travels. They may have medical needs, different things going on, so they are able to work on their content independently as needed. Some students have independent courses too. These are mostly for elective or credit recovery options. An RBA teacher will still oversee their progress though if they are in a course that doesn't have that live instruction component. And as a partnership agreement too, which is a really nice benefit, students can take up to half their classes still in building and be still enrolled in the real virtual, full-time virtual school. If students are taking classes in building though, all in-building rules apply to them. So they need to be in attendance, they need to be following any other rules that a regular in-building student would need to follow. We offer Phi-Ed classes. Most of our students again take our live Phi-Ed options. We do offer a Phi-Ed equivalency though. So if a student is participating in a WIA sport at your school, or is in karate or a dance company, different things, we will award a Phi-Ed equivalency credit. They have to have at least 90 hours in that semester to earn that credit, and then they're signed off by their coach or advisor of that activity. We allow students to do work experience, youth apprenticeship, early college credit program, and start college now. If those students are in the RVA through a consortium district though, the resident school oversees those programs. Logistically with work experience and youth apprenticeship, and also the funds tied to those programs such as Carl Perkins. Those funds will go back to that resident district, so they oversee those. And again, with early college credit program and start college now, the resident district would be approving or denying those requests. Again, if you have any questions as those things come up throughout the school year, reach out to myself or any of our student advisors or counselors. Students that are enrolled in the RBA through your resident district are eligible to participate in a WIA sport at your resident school. So if they cannot participate in a WIA sport though at a different school. So again, we want to make sure that students are enrolled, not open enrolled into your, and then changing districts. Nicole, so I don't know if that would apply to your student that you're referring to, but sometimes that comes up as well too. So we want to make, they're eligible to participate in your resident school because they're still a student in your district. Same thing with extracurricular and co-curricular activities. If students want to participate in those at your resident school, for the most part, as long as the resident school is agreeable to it, they can participate in those. For WIA sports, students have to meet the athletic code eligibility. We work with the athletic directors, often giving them like a coach access so that they can be checking their RBA students' grades. And I'll also be talking about our progress checks too when we're notifying districts of how our students are doing here in just a minute. Some clubs though, just to note, FFA and NHS are by high school chapter. So if a student's in the Rural Virtual Academy High School, they wouldn't be eligible to be in those clubs in your resident school, because they're not a student in your high school. So just be aware of those. Any questions so far? All right. When students come to you and say they may be interested in coming to the RVA, we have this handout that we just encourage sharing with our families that are interested, so they understand they're still a student in your district, but they're going to be a student in the Rural Virtual Academy High School in your district. Students, and it goes over about being able to take classes in building and WIA sports and those types of things. Students follow the district's graduation requirements, and I'll touch on that too in just a little bit in more detail here in a second. And then RVA issues the diploma, so they'll be getting a diploma from the RVA high school in your district. So this is just kind of a nice handout that bullet points, what it means if students want to enroll in the high school for the RVA high school. So progress checks, every 4 weeks, we will do progress checks to determine how our students are doing. One component of this is if students are doing well, earning 80% or higher in their classes, the parent can request that they have earned flexibility, which means they no longer have to attend the live classes on a regular basis. We still encourage those students to be attending though regularly, but again, some students and families desire that flexibility. Another part of the progress checks is it determines any students that are not doing well and may be placed on academic probation. If they are placed on academic probation, we will be sending warning letters to the families and to the resident school to notify you as well. If by the next 4 weeks that student's still not doing well, we start considering whether this is the best placement for them or not, and likely having conversations with the resident school to determine if we should be remanding those students back or not. We don't have mandatory attendance in the virtual school, but we have a law that's called failure to participate. So we need to make sure that students are actively attending their classes, keeping up with their work, in good communication. And there's a few other things that go into that. But if they're not meeting those expectations, we have to remand them back to the resident school. Yep. Yep, I'll share some more about our school counselor and student advisors and our on-course teachers in just a second. I don't want to miss out on talking about state testing, because I know everybody loves talking about state testing and how that works with our consortium districts. So with state testing, and again, another part of our partnership agreement is our students that are enrolled in the virtual school through our consortium partners take the state tests at their resident school. You'll have access to the students that are enrolled in the full-time virtual school. We'll send out reminders to you to make sure you're reaching out to those students to invite them in for state testing, letting them know when and where to report, those types of things. So all the state testing for our full-time virtual students through consortium schools are really managed by those consortium schools. And again, we'll send out more information on that state testing and how it works as we get closer to those testing windows. I've included links to our newsletters that we send out to our consortium districts in this slide deck too, just for your reference if you want to read up on it ahead of time. And with state testing, we get a lot of questions too on like how scores are reported and those types of things. All the students, regardless of where they test, those scores are reported back to the RVA school. So they go to the RVA school report card. At your district level, if students don't participate, the participation rate is indicated on your district report card, but that doesn't negatively impact your scores on your district report card. So, so just so that you're aware of that as well. We also send Chromebooks to all of our students that are in the full-time virtual school so that they have access to the technology. We have a really robust activities and events program. And there's a link out on our to our website here of all the different activities going on. We offer a lot of in-person events as well as online clubs and activities too. So our students aren't just virtual and sitting at home and on the computer all the time. We are really impressed with how out and about our students are and well connected. So if you ever want to check out one of our events, you can come out to our websites here and see what's going on. We have our end of year celebration at I don't want to say Miller Park, American Family Field next week. So we're excited. We have a good number of families showing up for that. We have stop motion animation going on at our Mosley Learning Center right now. So lots of fun, different things going on from educational to engaging and enrichment activities. Our students are required to also complete 8 hours of community service every year, regardless of grade level. So we share that with our families and provide some resources and ideas of what they can do. If your district has a graduation requirement that has more hours than what we require, then those students meet whatever the higher requirement is for those community service hours. And again, this just directs you back to that website for where families should go to get on our wait list for enrollment for next year. A little bit more on the graduation information. RVA will issue the diploma. So for the students that are in the full-time virtual school, your school should not be issuing a diploma. Students should only get one diploma. We follow the graduation requirements that are listed in district policy. This is usually different than what is listed in your course guidebook at your high school that you give out to students to schedule for their classes each year. Oftentimes those course guidebooks list specific courses that students need, where in district policy, it's much more general, saying they need 4 credits of English, 3 credits of math, and so on. You know, and because we work with 70 partner school districts, we need that more generality and flexibility in meeting those graduation requirements. As new partners join us, our student services team, we set up individual meetings with each new district to go over those graduation requirements and make sure everyone's on the same page with what those are and what that looks like. So we'll be reaching out to you here, usually right at the start of the school year or in August to get those set up. If you know there's going to be any changes to your graduation requirements, let me know so that we can update our student services team and make sure that all of our shared students are on track for graduation. When it comes time to graduate, students have the choice to either walk in the RVA's graduation ceremony or the resident school ceremony. We'll survey our seniors. Usually by December, we're sending out information to our consortium districts, letting them know where our students are planning on walking and participating. We award the academic and technical excellence scholarships to RVA students. So again, they're part of the RVA high school. So those students shouldn't be factored into your students like GPA, class rank, those types of things. They're in the RVA high school in your district, not in your brick and mortar high school. There is some local scholarship considerations though, and oftentimes in the eligibility criteria, it will say a student is graduating from this specific high school is eligible. Our partner districts often will work with those scholarship sponsors to revise that eligibility criteria to say a graduate in the school district. A lot of times the scholarship sponsors will consider an RVA student as well. If they've, been in the district for a while or have connections to the scholarship sponsors, criteria and different things like that locally. So just be aware of that too. We let our seniors know to connect with the in-building school counselors to get scholarship information and review that eligibility criteria. We've shared the partner portal information. Another tab on there is going to be a link to all of your RVA's full-time virtual students as well too, and their contact information. So when it comes time to be reaching out to students about state testing, or if you have an event going on at your school that you want to invite all of your students to, make sure you're bookmarked that partner portal and have access to it so that you can contact our students that way. And then we also have part of our partnership, the Growing Connections. If schools join with that and offer a learning center, there's a credit back for that as well too. And oftentimes when we have students that are taking classes in building, there may be a gap in their schedule and they need a place to go. And our schools are finding a place for them to go so that they don't have to leave campus and then come back. So that's a popular use of having a learning center at your school. Also, if students may be struggling in the virtual school and we're considering remanding them back, or they need some more support and oversight, they can go to that learning center and work and hopefully get caught back up on their classes and remain with us in the virtual school. Sometimes a family or student comes to you and says, I want to join the virtual school, and you're like, I don't know if this is the best option. We can have them start with us, but starting in your learning center in your building yet to see how they do before they go fully remote. So with all of you being new this year, this is usually something schools will consider, second year, things like that, but oftentimes it's something you're already doing and helping to support your students. So just be aware of that. It's a nice option to help support our families and students and also get a credit back to your district. All right, I want to share with you all of our staff that is frequently in contact with the in-building school counselors and things like that are working with our students that are in the full-time virtual school. We have brand new is Cheyenne Meyer. We have Jenny Jaden. Jenny, if you want to say hi. She's been with us, but she has decided to stay home. She's got 2 little ones, so she's going to be staying at home with them next year. So Cheyenne is coming in Jenny's spot. She'll be helping with students whose last names are A through G. Megan LaMarche is our school counselor, and she has students' last names H through O. And Jeff Lemon-Hugh works with students' last names P through Z. Then Wendy Gabauer is our high school secretary. So she's in frequent contact. She pretty much runs our show here at the high school. So she'll get to know you. Autumn Schley is our high school coordinator. She works a lot with our high school staff on just making sure everything's running smoothly throughout the school year and planning different things for activity period, activities and events, as well as working with the rest of our student services team. Jill Chastain is our high school special education coordinator. So she's our contact for scheduling students who have IEPs at the high school level. And then Kelly Williams is our on-course coordinator. She is the one that onboards our students who may be at risk of not graduating. And so we call our program on-course. Some of our students meet the at-risk criteria as defined by state law. We also will have some students that are in on-course that may not meet that criteria, but we want to catch them before they are meeting that criteria to try to get them back on track sooner. And then we have 3 on-course teachers that get a caseload of students and really keep a close eye and support those students throughout the school year, helping them with time management, work completion, setting personal goals, and those types of things. Any other questions? And Amy, does that answer, did you have more specific questions about our school counselor, advisors, and at-risk teacher roles? All right. Well, I think that's all I have right now. I think I will turn it back to Allie here.
Great. Thank you very much. The last stop on our journey through the full-time virtual school is our special education team. And we have Nicole here to talk about special education services and how they work through RVA's full-time virtual school. So Nicole, I will click through to the link and let you share.
Awesome, thank you, Allie. All right, so my name is Nicole Wolf. I am our Assistant Director of Special Education over here at the RVA. We also have Sam Penry, who is our Director of Special Education. So we are great go-to people whenever you have questions regarding special education. So the whole IEP evaluation process, it's a little complex, but we have it separated here for you as far as who does what. It's a really nice shared partnerships when we have students with special education services. So the majority of the IEP related side of things, RVA takes care of. So if you look on our chart here, RVA will take care of sending and scheduling IEP meetings, writing those IEPs, writing PTPs. And when that does happen, we usually have to get access from our consortiums. We'll complete progress reports twice a month. We implement interventions and progress monitoring related to SLD evaluations. We have a whole intervention team. We email the whole team monthly, and then we will do any of the end of year graduation meetings as well. So part of that falls then on the consortium. So while we do the special education, like from a special ed teacher side, we do ask that the consortium still can provide those specialty services. So speech, occupational therapy, PT, anything like that. We include you in the IEP meetings, and so you have full access to make those decisions. We work with our consortiums as far as writing goals, anything like that. At the beginning of the year, we will, Sam and myself will ask your director of special education or your special education secretary to give us a district representative who's going to attend those IEP meetings. So we'll make sure to invite them to IEP meetings. As far as initials and reevaluations, that is on the consortiums to initiate. Speech and only students, that is also just as our IEP services are provided, the speech and language services are provided by a consortium. You would still continue to case manage speech only services. We can help, but you would take care of the early indicators and develop any 504 or EL plans, as well as access testing. So as we're getting students to enroll in the special education department, we always send out an email that typically comes from either Sam or myself, and it has a nice visual that explains all of this. So we'll work with you and how to go through all of this and what steps are on us and what steps we'll need to work with you on.
Nicole, can I ask
yeah.
a question? This is Kathy. I'm Student Services Director here.
Yeah.
I am wondering, so you have had students from here prior to the consortium who've had special education services. I don't know off the top of my head if any have had OT, PT, or speech. I'm assuming they have. So you're saying as we have joined the consortium, now those students have now bounced back to us for providing those services.
Yes, for the OT, PT, speech and language services, those would go on a consortium.
Okay, and then you guys will be sending us, I mean, we can go through, I don't comb through those IEPs when they've been open enrolled to you since for many, many years.
And that might be something where you could schedule a time to meet with Sam and myself specifically, and we can go through that with you and just make sure that we have that outlined really clearly and just figure out who needs what to make sure that nobody gets missed.
Okay, and then we conduct initial and re-evals. So re-evals, so the initials and the referrals obviously would come from either a parent or you. And I guess it's just another conversation. We sit down, like the things that get me are observations, which are big parts and things like that. So I'm sure you guys have a process. We'll just maybe meet another time and go through.
Yeah, absolutely. And those are good questions for everyone as far as observations. We work really well with our consortiums. We want to have a really strong partnership with you. I've seen a lot of times where somebody from your school might do an observation and they might observe a student like in a live Zoom class here. We'll help get you the schedule and get you what you need to be able to do those observations. We might have, our special ed teachers also do observations and we'll share any information with you. So we will work through those steps with you every step of the way. And I'll go through, there's a little bit more if you want to scroll down, Allie, and then I can take more questions. There's just some complexities that go through or, to include with this, just PTP systems, those are held by the consortium. So we typically have to request access to those for any students who are over 14. Then the IEPs will show up that they're coming from the Medford School District. And if you would like an LEA representative, that's where we'd have somebody from your school be the representative. We have in our IEPs, we'll have typically the special education teacher sit in as the representative. And then the last piece is the audit implications. So while we're writing them, they would still fall under your audit for DPI. So if there's any certain ways that you want the IEPs written, you can make those requests to us. Our staff, we just went through an audit this year for our open enrolled side. So our staff is always up to date on how to write those IEPs well. And so we definitely do what we can to make sure that we're passing those audit checks. And then as I kind of shared before, we'll have you assign a district representative for each student. So some districts will do the same person for everyone. They might do like the director of special education for all of their students. Some districts might have a different one for each student. So maybe it's a special education teacher the student had previously in building, or one person from each, elementary, middle, high school. That really varies from district to district. So that's the high level overview. Is there any questions? I know it's a bit of a complex everything when we get into special education, but we'll definitely walk you through as we are getting into any of these IEPs, evals, re-evals. All right. Well, then I can put my email in the chat box, and I can put Sam's email as well in case you have any questions. If they come up, you are always welcome to contact us. And other than that, I can turn it back to you, Allie.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much. I think we've made it through everything. It was a lot of information that we covered. As I mentioned at the top of the hour, we do not expect you to memorize this by any stretch. Lots here, and we're going to give you reminders along the way. As the year progresses, you're going to hear from us. We say RVA stands for Relationships, Values, Academics, and we're talking about the students. We're always also talking about our relationships with you. We really value the relationships we have with our partner districts, and we want you to still be involved in our shared students. So we do our best to keep you in the loop as the year progresses. Oftentimes, new partner districts will come to us at this time of year saying, oh, what am I supposed to do? I mean, this partnership is starting July 1st. What's next? So today was step number 1. Come to this orientation just to hear about the RVA, get a little bit of information. The next thing is, if you haven't already, someone from your district should fill out your district contact sheet. That would have come in an email from Charlie Heckel when your district first onboarded. So for some of you, that was a while ago. If you're not sure where to find that, send an email to any of us that you have as a contact. We'll get you that contact sheet. That just helps us out a lot as the year progresses to make sure that we're reaching out to the right person in your district. Next up, another reminder to send someone to that school registrar and business office orientation. So keep that one in mind. And review that partner portal that we touched on a few different times. Lots of information can be found in this partner portal, and we're continuing to try to streamline that so it's a one-stop shop for you as a district. So take a look at all of the options and, you know, request access for different sheets that you think you might need to access. Next up, just familiarize yourself with that new student enrollment process. And if you recall, we're going to send you this link. We already shared it today, but we're going to send it again. That's the information that lives down here. And send interested families to that RVA enrollment page. Next up, and Kathy, I don't know if this has already taken place, but we have to schedule a 30-minute meeting with Kathy Alexander to confirm your high school graduation requirements before June 30th hits. Is that still a valid reminder, Kathy? You want them to get in touch with you?
That is a valid reminder. There's been a couple districts that I've met with, and I will also be reaching out to them if I don't hear from them as well. So we're good.
Yep, good. Then a last reminder, and we started with this, is just to schedule a meeting with the District Connect team to discuss your options. There will never be any, District Connect is optional, right? And what you use within District Connect is optional, I should say. So there's never any pressure to use our services, but we want to make sure that you know what's available to you. Sometimes districts will realize they're paying for a solution that they could be getting through us. So we just want to make sure you're optimizing your partnership. I think that's everything. Any remaining questions from all of you? We really, really appreciate your time today. All right, I'm going to take that as a no. Covered all of the bases, or you're overwhelmed and you're ready to leave. Either way, we're going to set you free for the rest of the day. And we wish you well as this school year wraps. We're very excited to partner with you in the coming school year. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.